Richard Mark, same heartbreak, different day. BBC Radio Suffolk at 10:17. Now, did you have your breakfast this morning? Apparently, eating a bigger breakfast and a smaller dinner could aid weight loss by making you feel less hungry, say researchers. So scientists precisely controlled people's meals to compare the impact of a large breakfast or a large dinner. The University of Aberdeen team found people burned the same calories whenever they had their biggest meal of the day, but appetite was noticeably smaller after big breakfasts, which could make it easier to stick to a diet. So have we found the solution to curb our nighttime snacking? That is 100% me. Let's chat to Natasha Hodge, a nutritional advisor from Natasha is Wide-Eyed. Hey, Natasha.
Hi, Heidi. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. You won't be very pleased with me. I did skip breakfast. But what do you make of the research? Could it work?
It could, and actually I would be pleased that you'd skipped breakfast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So timing is very important. It's funny, I've been researching this a lot recently and experimenting myself. So I've always been like you. I've eaten probably my main meal in the evening. But the research is showing that if we eat our larger meal earlier in the day, we are able to sleep better, we metabolize food better. So your circadian rhythm is very, very important to how we digest food. But of course, it's people's lifestyle, isn't it? It would be very difficult if you've got your work day starts at 9 a.m., to have a massive breakfast before you went to work. You've got to travel there. It would be tricky for a fair few people. I'm at home. I work from home, so I can have my meal at lunchtime. That to me, that's the actual optimum time to eat.
But, people, we've all been told you must have a breakfast, you must have a breakfast. Do you disagree with that?
I do, because, the word breakfast just means to break fast. It was never designed that you should wake up and eat straight away, because while we're sleeping, we are storing energy. So it's like plugging your mobile phone in. Once it's charged, it's ready to go. You don't plug it straight back in. And our bodies are the same. So we store up a load of energy. We get a boost of glucose to wake us up in the morning. We've got energy, or we should have, if we're eating correctly. And then you're able to expend that energy. And once you're hungry, so you might be hungry mid-morning.
Yes.
So
yeah,
maybe
I find that.
Eat a large meal. You could, if that was how your work day could work out. If we worked earlier, as it were, and then ate a decent sized meal mid-morning.
I mean, the difficulty is we're so obsessed these days, aren't we, with staying trim, and we're sticking to a societal expectation that you'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner. But actually, those things came about when people worked very physical jobs in factories, in fields, and probably now that's not quite so relevant to us.
That's right. But also, the thing we really lost sight of was the actual food itself. So, it's fine us saying, okay, you're going to eat earlier in the day, but it's what you're eating that we need to be concentrating on. My whole philosophy is low carb, but we're still eating vegetables. But it's the thing that makes us gain weight is the stuff that's causing our blood sugar to rise. So if our bodies are awash with blood sugar, and that's in the form of any kind of carbohydrate, be it sugar, be it cake, be it pasta, be it rice, even if it's low fat, it's going to store it as fat. So if we were concentrating on really good food that wasn't storing as fat, we wouldn't even have the issue of worrying about whether we were gaining weight. Our bodies would find a natural balance anyway, and that's exactly what I coach people on.
Do you think the hardest thing for most of us is understanding nutrition and, because a lot of our favourite meals are potato-based in this country, aren't they? Pasta, we love pasta. How do we go about changing our mindset around this?
Well, I think, for a start, obviously, Public Health England need to revamp the idea that a third of our plate should be carbohydrates. I think, there's all sorts of mistakes have been made over the last 50 years on nutrition, and so it's, we really need a massive overhaul, because actually eating normal food means that when I say normal food, I mean meat, fish, dairy, eggs and vegetables. If we were just concentrating on those, then we wouldn't feel as hungry, we wouldn't have cravings, and we would have balanced weight and health. And so this creeping up of obesity and chronic disease that we've got in this country has only really exploded since we've been told the wrong information.
And would you say that there are other nutritionists that would disagree with you, that do think there's a place on that plate for the carbs?
If you've been taught in most degrees and diplomas these days are still talking in terms of low fat, high carb.
Right.
But I think the tide is changing. I definitely think the tide is changing. And yes, absolutely, people will be stuck in that mindset, because that's what we've heard for 50 years. And so, I was a product of that until I was 40, and I just kept asking myself, why can't I stick to a diet? Why is this not working? And it was that the information was incorrect.
So how do you go about your day, Natasha? So you would agree that we could potentially eat a larger meal at an earlier point in the day. How do you come up with ideas of things to eat? Because I think most of us sit there sometimes like, oh, I know what I need to do, but I'm just hungry. I'm going to have a jacket potato, or I'm going to cook some pasta. So how do you do it?
So the thing I do, I include fasting. So biologically we aren't made to be eating 24/7, and of course we've got a food environment that is 24/7. But if you're fasting and you're eating in a smaller window, that curbs your appetite, definitely. So I've been doing this for 10 years. So it's I tend to start eating about 12 o'clock at lunchtime.
And do you have a big meal then, in alignment with this research? Do you have a big meal then?
I've changed the way round that I eat now. So I was eating my main meal in the evening, but I was finding that impacted sleep, and it definitely does. So I sleep much better now that I eat a larger meal at lunchtime. It doesn't, funny enough, it doesn't impact my work anymore, because I did worry that I would feel tired afterwards. But if you're concentrating on protein, fat and vegetables, you don't have the bloating, you don't have a sugar high and a crash and then get that dip in energy. So yeah, I eat a larger meal at lunchtime, and as I say, it would be very full fat, and that will see me through until probably about 6, and then I'd eat a much smaller meal. So I only have 2 meals a day, some days only 1.
And actually, it's actually quite freeing, isn't it? Because I've changed the way I eat over the time. I mean, I'm vegan, but I mean, I've been plant-based since I was 12. Right. But I was still adhering to that whole thing of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it actually is a bit of a cage. Once you decide to not do that, it actually gives you, well, more freedom in some respects, doesn't it?
Definitely gives you much more time in the day. I mean, there are times that I do an extended fast, and that's even better, because you kind of just think, oh, I don't even have to worry about it today,
And how long would an extended fast be?
That would be anywhere between 40 and 48 hours.
I'm a little bit of a truffle pig, I like those evening snacks that they were just discussing.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we're kind of told to eat, well, we have been told to eat little and often. This study actually doesn't say that. It's saying don't snack. And if you're eating well, you don't need to snack. If you're properly, getting all your nutrition, then you shouldn't need to snack.
And I think we should just point out, shouldn't we? It is always advisable to seek expert, over just having a go, because often what happens is you end up starving hungry and you binge anyway, don't you?
That's it. You need to, especially if you've got any kind of health issues, you've got to speak to your doctor before embarking on anything. But our bodies are miracles, and we need to look after them, and just just being aware that there's a lot of information out there, but you've got to listen to your own body. But I think this is a good study. It's showing it is definitely a good thing to try and get your biggest meal during the day rather than piling it all in the evening.
And I hate to say the pun, but it is food for thought, isn't it, Natasha? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.